Hey fellow backyard bowyers, Nick here. I've been getting a lot of questions about strings again, so today I decided I'd show you guys how I've been making strings lately. At the last gun show, I actually met up with one of my viewers. His name is Josh, and he gave me as a little gift a string he had made. And it was a Flemish type string, but it was pretty much the same as the strings that I had started using when I first got into making bows. When I started making bows, I was making wooden self bows, back bows, laminated bows. And the type of string that I would personally make was a Flemish string with one loop, and the other end you just tie a knot basically. That way you could use the same string for multiple bows, and you could also use it for different steps during the tillering process of a bow. When I got into PVC bows, I started going more toward the two-loop Flemish or the continuous or endless loop strings just because they look better, they look more quote-unquote professional, and that's what I wanted to do, but they take a long time to make. So I've recently just started falling back on the one-loop Flemish again, so I'm going to show you guys how I do that today. So I'm going to be using some fast flight. This is Brownell Fast Flight Plus. So I'm going to be making a string with this. I need 18 strands. For B50 Dacron, I'd probably use about 12 strands. If your bow is heavier, add some more. But basically, what you want to do is measure out. Now you can use a measuring tape and measure out the specifics for your bow. But I like making my strings a little longer, and then when I have it on the bow, and if I really like the string on that bow, then I'll cut the loose end off. So what I like to do is give myself about 9 inches for the splice, about another 9 inches for the loop, plus any twisting that you're going to lose some of this when you twist the string. And then the rest I figure out however long I want it to be. So my wingspan brings it to about 5.5 feet, which is good for pretty much any PVC bow you'd want. Then I just fold the string on itself, and I just go and use that as a measurement basically to make my first string bundle. Now your first string bundle is going to be, since we're going to be making a 3-ply string, it's going to be 1/3 of your finished strand count. So since I'm going for 18 strands, I want 6 strands in each one of my bundles. So I'm just going to keep looping this until I have 6 strands. To make this quicker, you could use a typical Flemish jig, or you could use 2 nails spaced however far apart you want your individual strands to be. But I like this. It's a nice relaxing thing to do. You don't need any jigs or anything. And you can really do this anywhere. Alright, so I've got my first bundle. So what I like to do is take a knife, cut it off, and then using this first bundle as a guide, I make a second bundle. So basically I'm just going to repeat that and make my second and third bundles. So I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. Okay, so I've got my 3 strands all separated out. Now what I'm doing is I basically measure my 9 inches from the end here, and then I go ahead and I add an extra, depending on how large you want your loop to be. This is where you would add basically some length. So if you want your loop to be smaller, so if your just going to be putting them over nocks, or if you're making it for a long bow or a normal recurve, then you can go pretty short. I would say your total length should be about 3 inches or so. Since I'm going for something that could go over a PVC bow and you could actually slide it down the whole bow, you could make it larger. If you wanted to make a knock end for, say, a horse bow with a sia, and you wanted to encompass the whole sia, basically just figure out how long the sia is and double that length, and that's how long you want your loop to be. And since I'm going to be using this for a separate type of string, and I'll show you how to make this other type of string later on, how to finish it up, I'm just going for a regular about 1 to 1.5 inch loop. So start with about 3 inches. And what you want to do is you want to take your 3 bundles, and what I like to do is just hold them in one hand. You could go ahead and do this. There are other ways you can do this. Basically, what I'm doing is I go ahead and take one of my strands, and then I start twisting them. Now I'm twisting them counterclockwise, like this. What this counterclockwise twist is going to do is, when I've got all of my strands twisted counterclockwise, they're going to twist together clockwise. So you want to mainly twist this area, basically that 3-inch area where your loop's going to be. Once you've got that, I go ahead and I hold it with my other finger. And you could set up a jig or something, but I like doing this. Really simple to do. You just go ahead and you twist your other side until it starts to want to kink like this. You just keep twisting. Once you're done with that, transfer it back over and hold on to it. And then twist your next length to the same point, then pass it over. Now you grab your whole bundle here, bring them together, and now you want to twist clockwise. So you can see they now lock together. The twisting has actually caused them to lock together like this. So if you wanted to, since this is a little under 3 inches, you could go ahead and just continue, do a little bit more to ensure, basically, just do a little bit more to ensure that this loop stays together. So there's the loop. Now you go ahead, you bring it back down. You want to match up the ends now. So bring one to one side. So each of your tag ends are matching up with one of your string strands here, one of your bundles. So you just go ahead and make sure they match up. Since these strings are waxed, they do hold together a little bit when I just pull them together like this. So now that you have your loop in these ends, you do the same thing. Hold the base of your loop and do your counterclockwise twist. Hold it to the side. Do your next counterclockwise twist. Hold that to the side. Do your next counterclockwise twist. Put that to the side. Hold them together really tight, then twist. So there's the beginning of our loop end. And you just take the rest of this and go ahead and twist. Hold it to the side. Twist, hold it to the side. Twist and hold it to the side. Straighten it out. Let it twist together. There's our loop. So now I'm just going to do a little bit of twisting down at the bottom here so that this bottom area blends nicely into the rest of the string. So same thing, twist, hold it to the side. twist, hold it to the side, twist, hold it to the side. Oops. Bring them together, let them twist together like this, and there you have your loop end. If you wanted to make a normal string or a two-loop string, basically repeat this onto the other side. But first, you want to put some counterclockwise twist into the actual strands, because without the counterclockwise twist, this is all going to come apart. So I'm going to change camera angles and I'll show you how I do that. So this part might be a little hard to see. Basically, there's a hook up there, and I've got the loop end of the string on the hook. So what I'm doing is I'm using the hook so I can basically pull back on the strands and separate them. So what you want to do is hold, or what I like to do is hold two of the strands off to the side, and then you want to put your counterclockwise twist into the strands one at a time. This may take a little while. You could use a drill or something and put the counterclockwise twist into it very quickly, but I'm just doing this by hand. If you don't want to use a hook, you could use the leg of the table, the leg of the chair, your toes, pretty much anything just to give yourself some distance from the loop. Now you don't really need to put that much twist into this because you're not really trying to make it look like a tight rope like the loop end. You just want it to be able to hold together. So here you go. I've got some twist in this, and I'm just going to repeat this for the other two. Okay, so now that all three bundles are twisted counterclockwise, and they're pretty much the same length now, what you want to do is grab them together, pull tight on the loop end, and then you just want to start twisting them clockwise. Alright. Okay, here it is. So with the little bit of twisting you did, the strands will hold together nicely. And you go to your end, and I like to tie a knot just to hold it all together so that the twists can't undo themselves. And here it is. So now I'm going to go and show you how to put this on a bow. Here we go. Alright, now that your string is done, we're going to be putting it on a bow. So here I have just a simple PVC bow. This has tapered tips and it has just standard knocks. So this method will work for both long bows and recurves. But bows with scias, you're going to need to use a slightly different method, or it's not going to work quite right. So we'll start off by taking one of your knocks, slip the loop over your knock, bring it down to the other end of the bow. You want to measure about 4 inches from the knock to your string here. Once you've got that, you can take the bow away. You make a loop at the 4-inch, or you make a loop right here where that 4 inches down is. So you take this loop like this. You take the loose end, you bring it through the loop as if you were tying a knot. You can see that. Now you take this, you bring it into the loop, and you're basically wrapping around this part of the string here. You're basically bringing this end around and wrapping it around itself. This wrapping is just going to lock it in place and ensure that it doesn't come apart. So you just wrap this a few times. And there you have your loop. So you take your loop here, slip it over the knock of your bow, Then you pull tight on the side with the string loop, pull tight, and then you can also pull on the other side just to even out the string a little bit. Ensure that it's sitting right in the middle. Here it is from the back side of the bow. Then you take your string, you take the other loop, put it on the top knot, and here you go. The bow is strung. So there it is. This is one method of stringing a bow with this. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.